Texas Department of Public Safety recovering at least 4 bodies, including that of an infant from the Rio Grande. All of this since the start of July. Texas authorities also saving 2 migrant children found abandoned at the edge of the Rio Grande on Monday. The 8 and the 11-year-old saying that a woman left them there and told them to cross the river into the U.S. Meanwhile, Texas DPS officials arresting a Florida truck driver who was smuggling 12 illegal migrants after a chaotic chase. Joining me now, former U.S. Border Patrol Chief and Deputy Commissioner and former acting ICE Director Ronald Vitiello. We continue to see, Ronald, these heartbreaking stories from the border. Can you give us any more information about what you've been seeing as well?
Well, the border is a risky, dangerous place. We know that smugglers have no regard for the people that they're trying to bring into the United States. And so they'll leave them behind. They'll send people across the river knowing full well that they can't swim. And it's unfortunate these poor kids, they're in the pipeline. They go through a lot of misery to make it to our U.S. border. And so I know that my former colleagues in the Border Patrol, they make huge investments in search and rescue and being able to do first responder medical care in the teams like Borstar to help people that are in distress as they're coming across the border. And we've seen the weather today. That the southwest border is near 100 degrees almost everywhere across. And so you have all those dangers, and you have these callous smugglers that will do anything to make money.
And I was going to say, bring up the fact that you've got the temperatures. I mean, right now in Arizona, for instance, we're looking at 110, 111 degree temperatures, which is normal for this time of year. But the amount of migrants crossing is abnormal. It jumps month to month, and there seems to be no stopping. To your point about the smugglers and also the fentanyl that we're seeing crossing the Texas and the Arizona and the California border.
Yeah, I was at the border last week. The Border Patrol is still overwhelmed. Since the end of Title 42 and some of the changes that they've made, it's muted some of the activity, but there's still thousands and thousands of people coming across the border every single 24 hours. And you're right to point out, these cartels will stop at nothing to make money, including importing this poison into our country across the border. Fentanyl is killing Americans every single day in large numbers. And so, yeah, the smugglers are really controlling the agenda, and the Border Patrol, the men and women out there, they do a really good job, but they've got a lot to do.
Now, I want to get your take on this rhetoric coming from Mexico's president. This is President Obrador. He's calling on Americans to not vote for Florida Governor Ron DeSantis in 2024 over his state's newest immigration law. So under that law, it's a third-degree felony for illegal migrants to use false identification to get a job. Businesses knowingly employing illegal migrants could have their licenses suspended, and businesses with more than 25 staffers must use E-Verify. Your reaction to this, it seems a little strange to me that the president of Mexico would want to insert himself this early on in a presidential election, and specifically going after one candidate like this.
Yeah, he's got no credibility as it relates to, governance in that country, right? The cartels set the agenda, not just on the border, but throughout most of Mexico. So we don't need his political analysis about what goes on in states like Florida or particular candidates that are running for the Republican nomination. Illegal migration is fueled by a number of things. People are trying to get away from things, and people are coming to things. And having a job in the United States, getting on the economy, having a driver's license, those are incentives for people that come here and stay on this economy. And so if Florida and the voters of Florida elected a legislature that wants to change the way the incentives play out in Florida, that's a good thing. That's a good thing for all of us, because it'll dissuade people from going there, and they'll choose places like Chicago and New York, which are sanctuary cities, and places like California that allow illegal aliens to get driver's license and in-state tuition and things like that. The incentives matter, both at the border, why people leave, and then whether they can stay here or not.
I mentioned as we were introducing you about what we'd seen with that chase. You've also got this now, and this is the extreme measures that they will take to get across the border. Sometimes you've got this illegal migrant caught trying to scuba dive across the southern border in the dead of night. He was trying to cross the Colorado River in the Yuma, Arizona border sector. This is a new one for me. I don't know about you, but this was an example for me of what we're seeing, just the absolute chaos down there.
Yeah, I hadn't seen scuba gear, so that's very interesting, but we officially have seen it all. Again, smugglers will stop at nothing to ply their trade, including importing drugs or sneaking people in. And, they have time to innovate and iterate on what goes on at the border. And so, yeah, they'll stop at nothing to evade the Border Patrol.
Kara, real quick before we go, politically, though, this has got to be an issue you would think that's going to come up in 2024.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we saw ad nauseum during the previous campaign in 2020 about the humanitarian crisis that was at the border. So we should be hammering the human toll home like we opened the segment with. I mean, look at the humanitarian effects of this. I also think the national security issue is massive. Look at the amount of people who have been apprehended who are on the terror watch list. Right. And then the military-age males, according to previous analysts on the show, that are coming across from China as well. I think there's a humanitarian issue, a national security issue, and that should be front and center when it comes to the 2024 campaigns.
Well, Ronald, hopefully, we're going to keep doing this story. Maria obviously has been all over this story from the beginning. So we hope that things, we want to see improvement. Sadly, we have not. We're seeing things just get worse. Ronald Vitiello, it's great to see you, though. Thank you for being here this morning.